When reading Star Wars, there's a certain author that pops into my brain as just writing solid books. That man's name is James Luceno, and today we'll be taking a look at Labyrinth of Evil, the must-read prequel to Revenge of the Sith. In this, Obi-Wan and Anakin are taking Cato Neimoidia and trying to capture Newt Gunray when they stumble across his hollow projection chair that he used in The Phantom Menace to talk to Palpatine, or Darth Sidious. And the hunt for Darth Sidious begins. So what did I think of this book? I thought it was really good. Really a fast-paced read. We got a lot going on here. We have the end of the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars is wrapping up. And in my opinion, this was the book that I think should have ended the Clone Wars. Because as you all know, if you've been watching my channel, there's what I consider two phases of the Clone Wars. The first phase started with Attack of the Clones. It was all the books and the comics in Genndy Tartakovsky's cartoon. All were just excellent stuff. And it was this dark, awful war. And there was a lot of loss. There were some wins, but there was a lot of loss. You got stuff like the Cetus Deception, Jedi Trial, Yoda Dark Rendezvous, which happens right around, I think it came out right around this book, or maybe a hair afterward. They reference it a lot in this book. MedStar, there's a whole bunch of books. Shatterpoint. And then you got Phase 2, which I call the Filoni era of Clone Wars. This is the Clone Wars that's mainly in continuity with the new canon. It contradicted a whole bunch of stuff in the EU, and overall was a been there, done that situation that I personally don't like. And one of the big things in this book that differs from that Filoni era is General Grievous. General Grievous, when he was introduced in Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars, was terrifying. He was this Jedi killing machine, and they kept that up with the Grievous miniseries comic. When he was introduced in the Clone Wars comic series, which was Republic, and there was another miniseries. And General Grievous, he was just this monster. He just a Jedi killing machine. And they keep that up in this, and you see how smart Grievous is, and the fact that he doesn't like Newt Gunray. He thinks he's like a waste. He wastes these machines, these assets to the Separatists, but he has to keep them alive because that's something that Darth Tyrannus and Darth Sidious want. So you get that. You get Anakin and Obi-Wan acting more as friends than Master and Padawan, which I like. You see Anakin taking risks that Obi-Wan wouldn't necessarily do, but Obi-Wan supports him. And you also get to see Count Dooku's perspective, which is one of my favorite aspects of the book, and his perspectives on Skywalker and Kenobi, and his scheming with Darth Sidious. You also get to see Bail Organa and Padme and their dealings with Palpatine, as well as Yoda and Mace Windu's dealings with Palpatine, and how they're falling out of grace with Palpatine. And Palpatine's, they think, is getting a little power hungry. And it's just a whole bunch of different storylines that lead to the Siege of Coruscant, which is where we get to the big continuity error with Labyrinth of Evil. And in it contradicts Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars. Because if you've watched the series, you know the last couple episodes are the Siege of Coruscant and what Anakin and Obi-Wan are doing on that planet, and Anakin's would-be Jedi trial that he never had. None of that's in this book. They are caught in a trap by Dooku, and yes, that event could have happened, but the big error in this is how Grievous takes Palpatine. So Grievous, their whole plan is for General Grievous captures Palpatine and takes him hostage. And they go about it in two different ways, and it's really weird because these came out at the same time. You would think with all the workings, because there's so many continuity workings James Luceno does with previous novels, that we would have continuity with Gingy Tartakovsky, but there really wasn't. There's certain things, because he does reference the previous Gingy Tartakovsky material from like season 1, as well as some things that he was told, like the Jedi that were protecting Palpatine from Grievous. They are referenced in there. They aren't named, but they give the species, and at least I'm pretty sure both of them were there. But I can guarantee that the Ithorian Jedi was there. I don't remember about the other one. But the big thing in Gingy Tartakovsky's series is it's just those two Jedi and Shaak Ti are the ones defending Palpatine, and they go on that chase. It's very Gingy Tartakovsky-esque. And that doesn't happen in here. There's more Jedi, and Shaak Ti isn't there when Grievous and his Magna Guards attack. Also, Palpatine has royal guards like he does in Return of the Jedi, which in Gingy Tartakovsky's show, they were still the Senate Blue Guards. So that was a little weird. There's one big thing in this confrontation that's in Gingy Tartakovsky series that's not in James Luceno's novel, and that is Mace Windu and Grievous have a brief confrontation where Mace Windu injures Grievous with the Force that causes him to cough, and that's why he's coughing in Revenge of the Sith. Unfortunately, that's not in this book, and in all honesty, Dave Filoni kind of ignores that too, because Grievous coughs a lot in there too. So, yeah. So, overall, this book has a lot of continuity with the EU. For instance, they reference stuff from the Cetus Deception, Yoda Dark Rendezvous, The Last Stand on Jabin, which is from the Republic comic series, Gingy Tartakovsky's show, so on and so forth. Overall, this book is really good, minus that continuity error, which unfortunately I have to dock in my rating of this book. And this book gets a 4 out of 5 stars. It's a near perfect book, but it loses that star, and I don't know if it's necessarily James Luceno's fault, but the fact that there's so much continuity in this book, and it has that glaring contradiction with its climax compared to Gingy Tartakovsky's show, you'd think that Lucasfilm would not screw that up, but they did. So, fortunately, this gets a 4 out of 5 stars. Should you read this book? Absolutely. And you should read this and then watch Revenge of the Sith, because it just prepares you for the movie. So anyway, that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice day.